And away we go. It's just me at the moment. Not sure if Eric and or Riff are going to join, but if not, well, it must go on. Ozzy Osbourne stated that his final live performance would be a goodbye as far as my live performances go, and what a way to go out. He performed with Tommy Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward during the show in Birmingham. Despite his Parkinson's disease, Osbourne plans to continue recording music while retreating from live performances. Osbourne expressed his gratitude after performing, saying, "The bottom of my heart." Who would have thought the day would come? It just comes to show we don't know how good people have it until eventually they say this will be the last time this will happen, and I appreciate every minute of it. So whatever happens next for Ozzy, hopefully he lives his life to the best of his ability. TikTok is building a new version of its app for users in the United States ahead of its planned sale of the app to a group of investors. The information reported on Sunday, citing unnamed sources. This comes as United States President Donald Trump said on Friday he will start talking to China on Monday or Tuesday about a possible TikTok deal. He said the United States pretty much has a deal on the sale of the TikTok short video app. TikTok has developed a plan to launch the new app to United States App stores on September 5th, the report said. Last month, Trump extended the September 17th. Last month, Trump extended to September 17th a deadline for China-based ByteDance to divest the US assets of TikTok. The report added that TikTok users will eventually have to download the new app to be able to continue using the service, although the existing app will work until March of next year, though the timeline could change. TikTok did not immediately respond to a router's request for comment. Routers could not immediately confirm the report. A deal had been in the works earlier this year to spin off TikTok's US operations into a new US-based firm, majority owned and operated by US investors. That was put on hold after China indicated it would not approve it following Trump's announcement of steep tariffs on Chinese goods. Alright then, so something is getting done about TikTok and operations in the United States. If it does go ahead, well, honestly, I'm actually wanting to know what's going to happen next, because at the moment people genuinely thought TikTok was just going to be banned outright from the United States. They thought it was all over, but no. They bought themselves a bit more time to enjoy whatever they have left of TikTok before whatever's going to happen next. Now the question is, what could this new United States equivalent could look like for TikTok? Is it a completely new app? Is it a TikTok like aesthetic and user interface just operated differently with, well, the report already said it's going to be operated and it's going to be mostly be operated by US related things. I forgot what the word was, but I know that it's mostly going to be US influenced and operated once it goes through. And another question that really sticks out to me, how would this affect the current TikTok app? Well, US users get their own algorithm that's going to be separate from the main TikTok interface and algorithm, or are the US users still going to use TikTok as they normally would, as if nothing ever happened to begin with? There is so many questions, but eventually they will be answered, just at a very, very later time. Twitter X suspends router's account in India after legal demand. Government denies making request. The official Twitter X account of the global news agency Reuters has been withheld in India due to legal demands. It is unclear whether the suspension request was made by the government of India or a competent court. Users see a message stating the account has been withheld in India due to legal demands. India ranks 153rd in the World Press Freedom Index, lower than countries like Bangladesh and Uganda. There has to be a reason. I don't care about the legitimacy or how absurd the reason is. People want to know, and they will have to say what the reason is. I am not defending anyone involved, but of course, I'm not I'm not too against them either. Who is them? Usually I would have a lot to say about a lot of things, not because I have to, but of course, a lot of things operate in a particular way that gets people's attention and gets people talking for months. At least weeks for sure, but maybe a couple months. So, what's going to happen next with routers? Well, routers are still going to operate and still reporting stories and news across the world. The only difference is that they're not going to be reporting and showcasing their stories on Twitter. Well, I hope something comes out. Well, a reason for why this happened. I get they say that it's legal demands. But what kind of legal demands are they talking about? I don't think that's enough to get the story out. Of course, it's still developing, and we may not know for sure what is to happen next. However, well, all I can say is I hope routers can restore to some extent and they can still continue with what they were doing without having to go through the same problems they're going through right now. And to avoid, young US college graduates face employment crisis. In the first quarter of 2025, recent US college graduates faced a 5.8 unemployment rate, the highest since November 2013 and well above the overall employment rate, according to the New York Federal Reserve. Economists link the hiring slump to a pandemic slowdown and policy swings under President Trump, causing firms to reduce recent graduate hiring. Research shows professional and business service jobs openings declined over 40% since 2021, with a 16% drop in new hires in early 2025, according to payroll firm Gusto. In the first quarter of 2025, recent US graduates faced a 5.8 unemployment rate, the highest since 2013 and above the overall rate, highlighting ongoing job market challenges. Looking ahead, employers project only a 0.6% rise in graduate hiring, with 11% planning to reduce new grad intake, reflecting ongoing labor market weakness. Do you know what the problem is? It's not the companies hiring the clients or the candidates. It's not even the candidates themselves, because well, they spent all those years going to whatever institution they were going to understand what they need to do to get the job they want. I think the problem is there isn't a plan B for either side. What if there isn't enough space for everyone? What if there is too high of a standard per candidate that's going for the job? Hello, Eric.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. All right. I was just reading an article. Young US college graduates face employment crisis. And briefly, in a nutshell, there is a reduced intake from businesses taking in graduates from university or college, and that trend seems to continue.
Huh. So college graduates are struggling to get employment, huh?
Yes,
So so, so you're telling me that that degree didn't help them get that job that they were dreaming of for years?
I do. No, that's the point that I'm making. The issue isn't the businesses hiring the clients or the candidates. Neither are the candidates themselves. No matter, regardless of how useful or useless their degree was. I think the issue is there isn't a plan B for either side. Because what if things don't go their way? What's going to happen now? You can't just moan about forever. They have to do something because there are going to be uncertainties. They have to do something. Otherwise, they're just going to reach a dead end and maybe end up in a very unfortunate state in their lives.
Okay, so the graduates pretty much, they're facing unemployment because they can't get the job that they wanted with their college degree. They're not seeking out any other uh, temporary employment or at least potentially permanent employment.
Yeah,
Pretty much,
there's
they don't have a plan B if their plan A doesn't.
exactly because businesses and organizations they're saying there is a reduced number of graduate candidates that are that either applying or being accepted into jobs. And the issue is, regardless of what the business are doing to hire new employees, there has to be a plan B in case there may be more that want to apply for a job, or the candidate in question, or the candidate doesn't get the job that they want. There has to be some kind of alternative, maybe in a particular market where there may not be as many people for said job. So, and also possibly the skills that they have. Because when people go for a job, they always look at one set of skills. I'm not sure if there are many people today that have skills beyond their intended job. Like, what if someone has collapsed on the floor and needs someone in the workforce that has some kind of healthcare experience or skills? That's just like those kind of examples, like skill sets outside their intended job, like that can still be useful, whether to alienate outside problems that's outside of someone's control, or possibly to get jobs to find another job in a different market in the event that the market they intended to work in doesn't go as planned.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's like, yeah, you just gotta find something that you're already good at or can get good at, or that you've done in the past that you know that can make profit again. Yeah, you know, if you're just not doing anything because your original plan didn't work out, then that's kind of stupid. I'm gonna be honest. Kind of stupid. But at the same time, it's also their fault for not like seeking out like employment, like employment or like internships while they were pursuing that college degree for that specific thing that they want to do that they know very well needs experience in that field for. Now it's one thing if the job that they're seeking out they need experience, not that there's any job that doesn't require some experience, but it just is what it is at the end of the day, and life unfortunately. But hey, they got into debt for nothing. Just realize that they can't do that at that moment or at all because of a degree. School is good, but you also have to gain experience.
Just got to adapt.
Yeah, exactly. You have to adapt. Either get a temporary job and still pursue that plan A somehow, and while also working on pursuing that plan A, or just go straight to plan B. Forget about plan A, or do plan A in a couple of years and just go straight to plan B. And maybe you'll get promoted in that plan B and not end up like a football player who could have made who could have made the NFL but got injured or something like that. I don't know. Point is, you don't want to handicap yourself. You don't want to do that to yourself at all. But yeah, is there anything else in these?
AI robots fill in for weed killers and farm hands.
AI robot? Huh. All right. Sounds interesting. Let's hear more.
Okay, oh dear. A grassroots solution may be taking root in California, where a startup is developing weed killing robots that could offer an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional chemical herbicides. The technology holds promise for protecting the environment and keeping harmful substances out of our food. But is it too good to be true? Peter O'Brien investigates.
Say, as far as a weed killing robot is concerned, it can go either good or bad. Um, I would say if it's good for the environment, then fine. But it's like, ultimately speaking, it's like that article said, is it too good to be true? Is this just really too good to be true? Extremely too good to be true? Is this just like hopeful thinking? Will we regret this in the future? That's the real question, and it could be either yes or no. Uh, yeah, it's like, do you have any like thoughts on in regards to like the weed killing robot? Because honestly, I I really don't know how where it, I really don't. It can go either way. From what I see.
Whilst it's good to have some kind of innovation and efficient production and effective and efficient performance in doing the tasks at hand, it all comes back to being too reliant on AI in general. It's good to have AI to get an idea of how to do the job efficiently and has some kind of backup if there aren't any people working, but we can't have it replace current workers right now because what would be our purpose? What's the point of us doing this job to begin with? And who knows? What if some AIs in the next few decades they get so smart they can develop themselves and then pretty much outnumber the humans to do the jobs that we're already doing. Like, no, it's not gonna. No, it's gonna be quite a long while before we ever get to that point. If there are few people that have that kind of intention. However, there are so many questions at this point in life when AI is currently on the rise and even AI itself becoming a lot smarter in doing tasks that we're already doing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I would also say, like, you're right. People are becoming too reliant on AI to the point where it's like, just like there's probably gonna be a point where there's gonna be an AI remote giver. It's like, it's literally going to just give you the remote when it's on the table right there, where you can easily just like get up and get the remote from the table, man. It's like people are gonna get too lazy. People are gonna get that lazy eventually. Like, how there are certain people who have like parents and dads where it's like, they call you all the way out of the room just for you to get the remote off the table that's next to them. Like, yeah, like pretty much that's gonna be the case. That's gonna be the case with everybody, man. It's like, they're gonna be that lazy and they're gonna have like an AI, like, some form of like robot to like, grab the remote for them. I don't know. Like, people are gonna eventually get too lazy just to do the simplest of tasks like sweeping, folding, general laundry, generally going to the store and picking up items. Well, okay, actually no, people are already too lazy to do that. Most people, somewhat myself, but not completely. Like, order stuff offline. But yeah, it's like it's just people are becoming too self-reliant on technology in general. That is, I would say if it's done in moderation. Obviously, if it's something that you can't do by yourself, then fine. But it's like you got to do some of the things yourself in order to, like, be busy and do something, because you don't just want to be doing nothing all day, unless you've earned it. But other than that, yeah, it's like you don't want to be doing nothing all day. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
And photos, las inundaciones mortales en Texas.
I'm sorry, what? I have no idea what you just said.
Neither did I.
Are we gonna continue on the? Read it. Okay, you can read the rest in Spanish. Then we'll just go to the next one.
Well, actually, all of the summaries is actually in English. It's just the heading that's just in Spanish.
What sense does that make? There's a heading in Spanish, but the rest is in English.
I have no idea.
That makes zero sense. But all right, let's read that. Let's read that.
All right. A rapid flash flood struck Texas Hill County on Friday, resulting in at least 24 fatalities and numerous individuals reported missing, including more than 20 girls from a summer camp. The flooding followed heavy rainfall and a deluge warned in advance by the National Weather Service and Texas officials, though Kerr County lacked a local warning system, according to Judge Rob Kelly. Rescue teams conducted dozens of water rescues early Saturday across Burnett, Travis, and Williamson counties, while many roads and highways, including FM 1431 and US Highways 29 and 281, became impassable due to flooding. The National Weather Service issued life-threatening flash flood warnings until Saturday morning, with rainfall rates of 3 to 7 inches per hour, urging residents to stay home and avoid flooded roads as President Trump called the situation terrible. Continued heavy rains threaten to hamper ongoing rescue efforts and increase the number of people needing help, while Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a disaster declaration to provide resources for local officials.
Well, one, I just want to say, like, it's a tragedy and it's unfortunate. Like, a lot of people have to go through all of it. You said, like, sir, you said, like, how many people got killed? You said, hello?
Uh, 24, 24 fatalities.
Oh, wow. 24 fatalities. That is and unfortunate, too. Obviously, obviously, like, my condolences are with their family and friends and all of them. And obviously hope that their families, the people who lost their families are doing good.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dogs are coming.
Okay.
Oh, but anyways, yeah, it's very unfortunate, and like people have to go, like a lot of people have to go through that, and yeah, I'm just hoping that their family, the people who lost all those, like all those people, I hope like their families are safe, obviously, and I hope the lost people get found, and I hope that everybody is generally okay okay in this hard time in these hard times. Because yeah, like definitely like this is definitely a tough thing to like go through. I couldn't imagine going through that, and I just hope that everybody just stays safe and stays inside. My condolences are for the people who were lost in that like rough weather, and I hope no one else dies. I hope no one else dies. Really do.
Yeah.
I'll move on to the next story.
China retaliates against EU with a ban on European medical devices.
Oh, wow, a ban on European medical devices. Let's see why.
China has barred European Union companies without operations in China from major government medical device contracts. The restriction does not apply to EU-funded companies operating in China or non-EU companies that allocate less than half of the contract value to importing EU medical devices. China also announced duties on brandy originating in the EU, largely believed to be a response to Europe's tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles.
Interesting. Interesting. What do you?
All I'm seeing is just a little hissy fight, a cat and another cat just going at it again, just pretty much trying to say, no, you can't do that. I'm going to do this instead. And instead of just trying to find a solution where both sides can just benefit equally. But all they want to do is trying to have to say, I have the high ground and we can't do this unless you give in to our demands. And I get there are compromises that had to be done or has to be done. But I don't think for quite a while, there's there isn't going to be much of solution from the two sides.
Just like taking this away. Like, oh, you want to take this away from me? I'm going to take this away from you. Take this away from you, take this away from you. Like, yeah, it's like, it's just, they'll probably resolve it in the future. They'll probably come to some agreement. Unless it'll probably last for years on end. Just like I thought just like I thought it would be how long the Diddy case would last. But, it is what it is. And
Was what it was.
exactly. They'll figure something out. I'm not even worried. Someone always compromises. And
They always do.
it probably ain't gonna be China.
They got the upper hand. They always had for years.
They have the upper hand on Trump winning TikTok, so yeah, they're not going to compromise for anybody.
Oh no, of course not.
Shoot, it's Trump's like what second, third time pushing back, like the dates for TikTok.
I think Trump has already extended twice the TikTok deadline.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If he does it a third or fourth time, he's just gonna look desperate. Like, please give me TikTok. But that's not what this is about. That's
Oh
not what
no.
this is about. But yeah, I'm gonna say China is definitely probably gonna be the one with the. China has all the pieces on their board. They're pretty much probably gonna wait for Europe to concede to their match. China, I don't see China conceding very easily. But hey, we just gotta see what happens next and see who concedes to who. And if it's China conceding to Europe, then I'd be a bit surprised, but fun. But not so surprised that I'm gonna invest. I'll just be a little surprised. And I'll be like, all right, whatever. Someone had to do it. But yeah, anything else in the news?
Hello, Risk.
Yeah, supposedly it was saying there was nobody in.
So what?
Yeah, there was nobody in. It was saying,
That's strange.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah. What else in the news?
Hotel Costiera trailer. Jesse Williams is an ex-Marine fixer at a luxury Italian hotel in action drama.
Interesting. All right, let's hear more about that. And then I want to talk about I want to
Okay.
talk and then I want to talk about that party that he threw on Saturday.
No, I was going to dive into that as well. It's a fucking dumb move.
Yeah, read that, Johnny. Then we're gonna talk about that America.
Alright, if your budget can't quite stretch to the stunning shoreline of the Amalfi Coast this summer, fear not, as an exhilarating new Prime Video crime drama will transport you to one of Italy's most beautiful setting instead. Hotel Costiera is what we're calling the new Death in Paradise, and it's set to seriously shake up your summer. Seriously, not that in my opinion, but whatever works.
Doubt it.
Yeah, to shake up your summer. All right. It'll
Yep.
probably be it'll probably be a decent place to stay, but it's probably not gonna shake up my summer. But yeah,
Yeah.
nonetheless, I wish the best. But yeah, anyways, so about the America party, Risk, you can start out.
I'm starting to think that Musk knows that this ain't going to fucking work. Knows this ain't going to work. But I think he's hoping that he can peel off a certain amount of votes that fucking splits the vote and puts the Democrats in. And if he is, he's a fucking scumbag. The Democrats should not be in power for the next 2 decades because quite frankly they're that fucking quite frankly they're that disorganized. They're wanting to push more progressives in the national races. How the hell are they going to win swing state voters? They're not going to win. Yeah, they might do well in fucking Democrat strongholds. They might do well in fucking LA and New York. But how are they going to compete again in Pennsylvania, Kansas? The ones that are not fucking Dem, still vote Dem, but not fully Dem to the certain point, not fully under their control. Ones that are middle of the ground Democrat states, lean Democrats, but potentially are not susceptible to losing. Realistically, if Trump can galvanize, if MAGA can galvanize the people in Pennsylvania like they did before, they could flip that state.
Think so?
You could flip them, yeah. If he can get those people that voted for, if Trump can get, if the Republicans can convert those people that voted for him, that voted for Trump, but I've never voted in their entire life, can make them permanent voters. And that's the rural people, right? These people are conservative, the conservative nature. That's an entirely new electoral base that could guarantee them Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania's got a decent amount of freaking electoral votes.
That's true.
He's just doing it because he's fucking mad at Trump, and he's mad because Trump wants to get rid of his fucking subsidies. I'm sorry, but should the US government really be subsidizing fucking electric vehicles? Nobody wants them, apart from fucking dorks in the city. They're not that real popular with fucking people in the rural Midwest. I'll tell you something, right? We see a couple EVs in where I live, right? But vast majority of us, we still drive petrol cars or diesel. mainly Range Rovers, and sometimes even freaking other cars. You'll still see some EVs, but the majority of the people tend to drive petrol cars.
True.
And even in the city, you still see a lot of people with petrol cars.
But no one drives electric.
We see there's some people, right? There's more people than there used to be, Eric. But let's be real here. The vast majority of the people in my city, and this is a city of people with 200k people. Vast majority of them drive petrol cars.
So I think people just simply like the idea of driving themselves.
They like the idea of driving themselves.
Yeah.
They like the reliability that comes with electric petrol vehicles. Simply because you don't have to worry, am I going to actually be able to fricking... It's fine. Electric vehicles are fine for people that don't do a lot of miles in a car.
They're fine for people who can't drive at all, who are unable to.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine as an Uber alternative, right? But for the people that have to drive, like people like me that have to drive like 30, 40 minutes every single fucking day to work, it's not practical for me. Where me driving to work, I could not use an electric vehicle. And I don't trust there are charging stations I could use. There's charging stations outside my work that I could use. But every time I go there, I barely see anybody use charging stations there. It's always people charging at home. The thing is, though, when after a couple of years, the battery on those things degrade, right? Very quickly. And the resellability market on them is fucking pathetic.
Yeah, it's just not.
And you know there's a big market for people that yet tend to not buy cars straight out. Right? There's people that have cars from 20, 30 years ago, right, on the roads, right? You couldn't do that with an electric vehicle. I doubt you'd ever be able to do that with an electric vehicle, because after a certain amount of years, these cars, they're degrading to be useless and worthless.
Yeah. So,
They're like iPhones, right? Phone you personally 20 years ago you could use for fucking 5, 10 years, right? Even 20, maybe 15, right? Right now, I don't think you could have an iPhone. I don't think an iPhone would last you more than 10, 15 years. And that's by design. They don't want people having cars for like 10, 20 years. I had like a car. I used to run. My first car was a car from the early 2006, 2007. Again, if they push for EVs, that'll never be able to happen because the batteries on them will be that fucked. Well, the end goal is to just push people into electric vehicles, right? I think the end goal is to basically shove us all into cities. And whoever doesn't, they'll just get culled.
yeah, I think that is the end goal.
Am I wrong for thinking that the end goal is plunking tons of foreigners into our countries, right? Flooding the nation with illegals, right? Am I wrong to think that their goal is to fucking have us off and then have them be the people that pick their crop, like slaves, like the African slaves from decades ago? Am I wrong to think that? Because the amount of people they're importing, right, and our population dwindles, the jobs will be next to nothing. And don't get me wrong, they'll still be making money. They'll be earning a minimum wage in that, right? But they'll effectively be the new crop pickers. They'll have next to no money. They'll be barely living in a house. They'll barely be able to afford to live. But just seems that that's what they want. They want people to just be basically be a indentured slave. Slavery never went away. It just became globalized, and every nation, every citizen got put into it. So what else is there?
From a stream to a deluge, nearly 90% of US adults are streaming content.
Actually, that's not surprising. It was.
Jamie, what do we class as streaming content? What's the parameters on that? Is that streaming platforms? Is that YouTube? Is Twitch included in that? Is Kick included in that? Or is it simply just paid content like a streaming service?
According to a survey by the Pew Research Center, 83% of Americans say they watch streaming services compared to 36% who have a cable or satellite TV subscription.
But are they rolling that in with YouTube, or is that simply just paid platforms like Disney Plus and Netflix? They don't say that though.
I feel like they're just talking about paid.
Because there's a lot of these guys now that they think that they're actually direct. A lot of these Disney and I think Warner Bros. And Netflix, they view themselves in direct competition with YouTube. They view YouTube as a direct competition at this point in time.
Hilarious.
Well, realistically, right? YouTube's getting heavily into the sports game, right? Like live sporting. And Disney thinks of them as a competitor because they've got ESPN.
I don't think YouTube has anything to worry.
No, YouTube doesn't have.
As of right now.
Actually, Eric, on that, they might potentially have something to worry about. They might actually potentially lose creators to Rumble, because it seems like me that there's some type of algorithm change where they're prioritizing more traditional TV and basically pushing AI slop. Am I the only one that's noticed that on YouTube? It seems like they're
No,
pushing
you're
more
not
AI
the only
slop
one.
videos.
I've noticed that as well.
And I think I've heard a lot of YouTubers in that concern saying that they feel like the algorithms changed to the point where they're pushing more AI generated content in like a lot of channels. And again, they might actually, on a long enough time frame, I can see Rumble. Am I wrong to think that Rumble might acquire Kick at some point, or integrate Kick into Rumble?
It would make sense if they did that, because very similar markets, and both sides would benefit hugely if this was to go ahead.
It could come to the point where Rumble just acquires Twitch, because Amazon's not going to keep Twitch along for a float, right? A lot. Twitch is either going to be shuttered by Amazon simply because it doesn't make enough money. At this point in time, Amazon's giving up on making money through ad revenue and ad partnerships with brands and companies, because they realize Twitch is that much of an indentured brand. It's mainly because of people like Hassan Piker and all these like freaking extremists, leftists on that platform. Effectively, it's basically not brand safe for anyone, and they basically only make their money through their freaking viewers. So they're basically juicing people. Will streaming get tested as a business in the next 5 years?
Yes.
I think it's already I think streaming's already starting to. I mean, streaming like Twitch streaming and all that, like live streaming. I'm starting to think that might be getting tested to the point where is it actually a viable business, or is it simply just a business that will never be profitable?
I mean, if businesses utilize it right, they can make a lot more profit from streaming alone, as much as the profits they're already making right now.
But when Twitch's main business model now is effectively juicing their subscribers, they're paying sub members, right? Twitch sub members, because they don't make money off advertising anymore, simply because nobody wants to advertise their products on Twitch. I don't think there's many people advertising on YouTube anymore, because I don't think I think people are starting to realize maybe we're not getting good value for our money here anymore. So they've kind of stopped advertising on social media. But yeah, so what do you think the chances? So who do you guys think's the next nominee for the Democrat Party?
Next nominee for the Democrat Party
for 2028?
Well, I'm still not ruling out Josh Shapiro.
Do you think they're going to roll AOC in that?
It's likely, yeah. AOC does have a chance somehow.
She doesn't perform? She's got a problem with moderates, though. Moderates will never vote for her, and I doubt swing state voters would vote for her.
I mean,
unless she cleans up her act and stop acting like a fucking psycho.
But yeah, Kamala managed to swoop in for the 2024 election.
But she appeared, Jamie, but she never had a chance. She got a decent amount of voters from some of these states, right? But she lost the swing states. And you need to win the swing states to actually win the election.
That's true, yeah.
Would AOC be able to potentially win Philadelphia? I don't think she would. Would she be able to win Georgia? I don't think she would be able to win Arizona. Unless she had a semi-decent... Don't get me wrong. What do you think the chances are with John Fetterman?
John Fetterman. I think John Fetterman would pull off better results.
I think she would do a lot better than AOC. Put a semi-decent, moderate Democrat in him. Maybe have him as the VP president or the VP. I don't think they'd win, but I think they'd do. I think you could put two fucking trash cans as a nomination as Democrats. I still don't think they'd win. What's the likely voter share that Musk could get with his new party? What does the Libertarian Party normally trail at? Is that like 10%, 8% of the vote?
You'd be surprised. It's way less than 1%. Like, total.
Should we be concerned about Elon's party? Could it flip voter votes to the right to the point where it literally...
I think it could attract the true moderate American voters that both Democrats and Republicans really want to get their vote on.
I think he's seriously pissed himself off. I think he's seriously pissed off big swabs of the Make America Great Again movement. I don't think he's going to get votes big. I think he's going to piss. I think Elon's pissed off a lot of those people, right? A lot of conservatives are fucking sick and tired of the guy and want the guy to go back to fucking making cars and stay out of politics. But you'd think, like, look, oh, the car company's fucking suffering. You'd think the business is suffering. The stock is fucking dragging down. And his idea is to fucking launch a political party. I'm surprised Tesla shareholders don't fucking just oust this bloke. Fuck off.
Because most of them don't know what we see in Elon Musk.
I used to be a fucking Tesla fanboy, but no, I realized that EVs are never going to fucking fully take off, and I realized he's a duplicitous cunt. He's always been arrogant. But yeah. The thing is, the American public didn't vote for Elon. They voted for Trump. They liked some of the policies he was pushing for, right? They liked the fact they liked Doge. They liked the concept of Doge. But even to certain points, I did have certain views on the fact that is this really best to the people, or is he literally just using this as a way to frickin' juice himself to get himself more money? And I think Musk really wanted Trump to frickin' hand over the keys to the country to him. And when Trump said no, he had a hissy fit and he started a new party. Musk wanted to be further involved in government. You know the fact when Elon supposedly got a black eye, right? Supposedly, quite frankly, they're saying that it was one of the Trump's aides that fucking punched him simply because he wanted to because Musk probably wanted more power, more influence and power, and Trump wouldn't give it to him. Said, look, go back to Tesla, get out of politics, campaign on the sidelines, and let the Trump administration do their job. I still think there's government waste. I still think there's a shitload of waste we could probably cut and get rid of in the US government. Like, I'd heavily look at some type of military contracts. You know, the amount of military stuff that they buy, right? Some of the stuff there with those military contracts, I feel they're probably getting ripped off up the wazoo. But so what else is there?
Let's figure out. Safety issues, traffic violations captured by Tesla robotaxi passengers.
When you're serious about not adding to the debt that you want to tax breathing. He really is a fucking Marxist. This guy's a fucking communist. No, we should have never given him influence. Bastard should go back to South Africa. Breaking, Donald Trump officially cuts off all aid to South Africa. I wish South Africa was a sovereign state. Last time I checked, South Africa's a country. Or are they telling me that literally it's still under British rule? Interesting. BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. Paedophiles need help, not condemnation. I should know. No, they need to be castrated. And need to be locked up. Is everybody there?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what's really bad about the great big beautiful bill? Because I think it's quite an interesting thing.
Beautiful bill. People call it the big ugly bill. What is it actually called? Is it just called the big bill?
The big beautiful bill. It's a fiscally conservative bill, supposedly. Strips back a lot of like frickin' Medicaid, strips back a lot of like free funding to frickin' people, right? Money that quite frankly goes to people that don't work. Like, I think I sent in a video, I think last night, but it was basically of a woman of nine that had 9 children, doesn't work, and effectively abused the system, which I labelled a parasite, because I think Americans and Brits need to be given back their dignity. Nobody wants to gets free handouts apart from Democrats. People want to be able to work, people want to be able to provide for themselves, they want to be able to go home to the families and say, look, I'm not a fucking scumbag. I didn't fucking freeload off the state. I worked for my money. I put food on the table. I provided for my beautiful wife and my 2 daughters. I'm not a scumbag that basically frickin' nicked off the state, off the tax man. I wish more people had pride, but
This too about TikTok. TikTok will launch a new app specifically for U.S. users called M2 on September 5th ahead of a potential sale. The current version will shut down by March 2026.
Mutu. They couldn't come up with a better fucking name. It sounds gay. It sounds like the Me Too movement.
I think it's called M2. Yeah.
Out of all the names they picked, they chose that. Fine.
How about like
So what does
yeah,
this happen? Is this thing going to have American ownership, or is it going to fully be still controlled by the CCP?
you know what?
It's going
They
to
had
be
a great
mostly US operated.
they could have they had the great they had the opportunity to call it Tick 2. Actually, no, that's terrible. That is awful.
That is
That's gay.
terrible. That's awful. Don't never call it that ever.
M2 was also not good.
The thing is, though, right? So who's this going to build? This company going to be? This going to be fully owned by?
If I were to guess, I feel Oracle would most likely be the
Is this the
company.
reason why he's having a hissy fit with fucking Trump? Because he didn't get fucking the TikTok deal. TikTok.
So
Maybe that could be the case.
God, he's such a petty fucking individual. The
But who
guy's
knows?
so
Anything's
pathetic.
possible.
Like, fuck. He's like the type of person, oh, if I don't get my way, I'm gonna fucking launch a new political party. Fuck you. So I'm gonna fucking doom the Republicans to be fucking put into fucking. I just hope there's enough Americans are not dumb enough like Brits to fucking fall for it, like we did. We fell for it and we got fucking Labour. If we all would, if the Conservatives would just back fucking Tories, right? We wouldn't be in this problem. Starmer wouldn't be in this country. Sunak, I still think would have run the country a lot more effectively, but I still think we would have gotten bad in it. Imagine if the Tories were still in power during the Trump's latest term. How much would change?
Not much.
Would we still be under a liberal government?
We wouldn't be seeing the changes that we're seeing now, but I don't think there would be much change from the previous 14-year government we had previously.
I still feel like that Sunak was trying to make changes. I think he really did want to see the country become a big GDP, massive GDP. And I think he really did want to see the military expand and become bigger again. I just learned something today. Who do you think's the biggest holder of US debt?
Would it be Japan, perhaps?
Yes. Who's the second?
The UK.
Yes.
The UK could overtake Japan for having most.
And this will give us soft power under the Americans. Soft power.
Now,
And
wouldn't that be
imagine this,
interesting?
right? Imagine this, right? Imagine this.
Go on.
Imagine if America were to take the UK over as a state, integrate UK and America. America had full control over its debt. If America were to able to take the UK, like the UK were to become part of a state, right? And America and the UK was the biggest holder of American debt. They'd be one step closer to being more secure than they are.
wow.
Is the UK who's more of a bad tourist? Is it the UK Brits or Americans?
I think both are equally annoying.
We haven't got a good reputation abroad, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think it's no virgin.
Well, the thing is, though, we do get the nickname, oh, we're the fat man of Europe. We're basically the Americans of Europe, effectively.
That is very true.
We may as well just fucking become this state. We may as well just become a 51st state, right? So when do you think it'll happen?
Very late into the next decade, at the earliest.
Is there any way to hasten it?
No. Even if we do get people on board, it will take many years before even consolidation, or even a consideration, or even toying about with the idea.
So we will all be ethnically cleansed before that happens, effectively.
We still have more time than you think we have in terms of the current migration the UK currently is getting.
Have you seen your city? Have you seen mine? There's parts of Aberdeen I could not even recognise, mate. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think Scotland's ever going to end up full of Pakis or Pakistanis. I don't think Scotland's ever going to end up like England like that, right? I think whatever is going to happen, I think we're going to be mainly taken over by Asians.
Your city has much more time than my city has.
Are you sure? Because
Yes,
I'm already starting to see
absolutely sure.
Muslims. I'm already starting to see Muslims in hijabs.
Where you're
5
from,
years ago,
you
that would
have
never be
much
happening.
more time.
I hope so.
I'm absolutely sure of it.
I just say mainly taken over by Asians.
Yeah, I think we've got a big amount of Asian people in our population in that city. I think we've got more Asians than we do Muslims. It's mainly Asians, Lithuanian, Polish. But again, how long are they going to stay? I can't see when it comes bad. I can see them fucking fleeing. I can't see them staying. Some of them have built ties.
Would it be better to be taken over by Asians than Muslims?
I'd rather have the fucking Easterns.
The question is,
Eastern Europeans, I feel them as brothers already now.
what kind of Asians are we talking about here?
Not Indians.
Are the
Japanese,
ethnic
Korean,
Asians, not the
Chinese.
Sino-Asians? Okay.
Chinese mainly. Chinese, Japanese. I don't hate them. Like there's definitely a big Asian group. Don't get me wrong, we've got a semi-big population of Indians as well, but they're nowhere. I think Asia is more popular here. The Asians, Sino-Chinese are more popular here. It's more popular for them here than it is Indians. We still don't get me wrong, we still got a big population of them, but we've also surprisingly got a big bunch of the freaking boat migrants as well. Sadly,
In New York,
I think, but I do feel like New York is probably living on borrowed time.
yeah, there's only like one specific part where the Chinese are.
The thing is, though, the Chinese, right? They're very conservative in nature,
That's true.
so you'll be fine there. That'll be a good conservative base for the future. Muslims in general are very conservative people. I don't hate Muslims. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate them. It's the ones that are fucking extreme, the extremists, like the ones from Afghanistan. They're the ones that are the problem. And the fucking extremist ones. And I don't exactly hate Indians either. It's the fact is, it's the extremists. It's the ones that want to push for Sharia law. That's the people that annoy me. And the ones that don't want to fucking work and just want to sit on their ass and fucking claim benefits. And there's people from my country and that people from our ethnic country that do that as well. I heard some Americans praising the two-child benefit cap. Do you think they're ever going to get rid of that?
If they do, it will be in the next. It will be in the following year. But
Didn't
otherwise,
won't Reform campaign on removing the two-child benefit cap?
I hope so. I think having that two-child cap is probably preventing families having more children. But then,
the
of
thing
course,
is though, with that two-child benefit cap, you'd be basically allowing foreigners to claim benefits of more children than they have, right? So effectively, wouldn't we be with our tax dollars, we'd be funding our own ethnic cleansing? That's why I'm not so keen on getting rid of that. Don't get me wrong; they're still going to they're still probably going to have tons of children, and they'll have it to a separate wife, so they'll just get rid of it. Do you think there are certain people that have moved here, right, and have integrated, right, that would actually fight for us if war happened?
I think.
Do you think the people in Rotherham would fight a war?
I wouldn't know. I'm not.
I do question: would the people that have come here, would they actually fight, or would they flee, or would any of them? How much of those people would sign themselves up to the military? Well, saying that, a lot of Indians did fight for us back then. That was different times, though. They were under the British Empire. It can't be really that bad, Jamie, if we've got tons of them that came here.
Also, if there are a few that don't want to fight, do they have the money to get out of the country?
Oh, yes, they do.
And in that case, for those who are left, those are the ones that are most likely, even if they don't want to, they'll be the ones that will be
The vast
most
majority
likely.
of this is, you've got to realise, the vast majority of these people, right, they're fucking, they know how to fucking play the system, these people. So do some of our own people. So when do you think we'll see a united Europe?
It depends. It depends on different levels.
And even if there is a united Europe, right, all of the EU becomes its own one nation, right, and we simply join the US as a state.
If there is going to be a united Europe, there will most likely be a 3-4 tier system in terms of Europe integration and collaboration.
So you mean like be a vassal territory that has no real power, and it'll all be
Exactly. That's
I
the
hope
point.
these people need to realize that, right? No matter what you fucking do, right? No matter what they say, the people that'll be calling the shots are Germany and France. Spain and Italy will have no say. They'll be drowned out. The only two people that really call the shots in that country will be France and Germany. Even if the UK were to rejoin Europe, I'm not even sure we would even get a big say in that. Say in discussions, I think we'd be labelled as a vassal for anything. France sure as hell would not. France will sure as hell fight tooth and nail not to give us a say at the table, even if we were to try rejoin. That's why I say we shouldn't rejoin. Instead of rejoining the EU, what if we were to create a new trade and military alliance with America? or a new common, like a type where effectively we're an economic union, we're a military union, and it was a way to slowly but surely move us along to becoming part of a state. It could be like an interesting federation of sorts.
That does sound like an interesting idea.
So what other European nations do you think will ever eventually become 50 states of America? Do you think Ireland would ever join?
No, absolutely not.
Why not? Ireland would love to be a state of America.
The majority of Ireland's population are mostly liberal. I'm not sure if
The
most of
majority of Ireland's population is about to be ethnically cleansed, Jimmy. I think any sane person would rather be join America as a state than literally be ethnically cleansed.
But even if there are a few Irish people that do want to join America, the amount of migration that Ireland's getting will certainly outnumber the current population in the next decade or two.
Ireland's population's not even a big population. That's the
Yeah,
concerning
that's
part.
exactly. Because it has a small population, if it has the same rate as the UK
Is there
migration,
a higher chance of the UK taking over Ireland again, or even if the new Muslim nations were to be able to merge each other into one?
that will not change.
Won't much really change when if we're a Muslim nation compared to as well? We used to be a Muslim nation anyway because we were the biggest Muslim nation of them all. Let's be real here. I mean, the main religion of the British Empire was Islam. Because it was Christianity on the top in England, but the rest of the nations, it's made majority Islam. Because most of the parts we ruled over, Middle East, all of the Middle East, it was effectively Islam. Egypt was Islam. India was Islam. Malaysia, Dhaka.
It's only dominant because of birth rate.
So what's the next? So what other countries? Would Germany ever join America as a state? Oh, it would. Oh,
Probably
it
not.
would. Oh, it would. I'm still of the opposing of uniting all of the West under one state, uniting all of Asia. I'm in favor of uniting all of the West under one state. I'm interested in seeing them unite all of the Middle East as one state. Do you think we could see a Middle Eastern Union state,
I think the closest thing.
including Iran, once the fucking Khomeini's fucking offed? What do you think the chances of OPEC? What do you think the chances of the Arab League, the Islam Arab League, actually becomes a physical nation?
I feel that would be impossible because there are very distinctive cultural differences, and especially the way that people speak Arabic are vastly different, just like how people in the US and UK speak English very differently, as
Well,
well
we
as South
still speak
Africa.
English.
Yeah, but the people in the Arab League speaking Arabic, there are very key differences that very could sound like different languages altogether, but it's still Arabic. It's just that have very strong accents that are very distinctive from each other.
What do you think the future of South Africa is? Is it a booming success or is it abject poverty for all?
Mostly the latter.
So you're of the opinion on of the group think that literally Africa's what happens with Africa becoming a big superpower and massively powerful is a whole fucking sham. I don't know who's been fucking smoking crack, but that'll never happen.
It doesn't matter how much money a nation has, it's about what that money is going towards
The
to
thing is,
fuel.
though, right? I don't even think, even if it was, even let's say this, right? Let's say abject point that Europe no longer has a plan is no longer really able to mess with Africa, right? The US is not going to allow Africa to be powerful. The Middle East is not going to allow. The Gulf states in Egypt are not going to allow fucking Africa to become powerful. Russia, China, and the Asian countries like South Korea and Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, and all those big nations, right? And even in Australia, right? They're not going to allow Africa to become powerful. So even if Europe falls into civil war, right? Africa's still going to end up being poor because there's too many people in South America. Even people in South America, I don't think they want that. They don't want Africa being rich and wealthy. Is there anything else, or
That's us.